We have mastered the science of the present mind, but now we face the ultimate mystery, the eternal consequence of action. What happens when the physical body dies, and what force governs the continuum? The word karma is misused everywhere. It's been reduced to cosmic justice or simple fate. If something bad happens, it's your karma. That is a fundamental misunderstanding. If karma were inescapable fate, the Buddha's 45 years of teaching would be pointless. Why strive for interchange if everything is predetermined? This ancient philosophy requires radical personal ownership. When we carelessly attribute bad luck to bad karma, we surrender our most sacred power, the power of choice. The genuine teaching of karma is an incredibly empowering message, not a fatalistic one. It is the assurance that the future is not written by the past, but by the quality of the conscious mental effort you exert right now. This episode of Dharma Decode dives into the deepest truths. Karma is not what happens to you. It's the powerful engine of choice and action. And rebirth is not a soul migrating. It's a continuity of energy. We will clarify the profound distinction between karmic result, the conditions life offers you, and karmic action, the mental energy you choose to put out. By separating these two, we gain the philosophical grounding necessary to navigate the turbulent waters of rebirth. The following segments will break down the intricate process, ensuring you redefine your understanding of destiny, responsibility, and what truly persists beyond the grave. The Buddha clarified that the true ethical core of karma lies in Cetanā, intention. It is the mental decision, the will, that drives the action and creates the consequence. Karma is a psychological law of energy, not physics. Consider the difference. If you accidentally step on an ant, there is a consequence. The ant dies. But there is no karmic consequence because your intention was neutral. If you step on the ant out of malice, the mental energy of hatred creates the karmic imprint. The consequences of our actions manifest in two distinct ways. First, the psychological imprint, which changes your mind's character, making future kind acts easier and hateful acts harder. Second, the environmental consequences that shape the circumstances of your future life. This karmic mechanism is profoundly logical because it relies entirely on habit formation. Every intentional action strengthens the neural pathways in your brain, making the repetition of that action easier. This is the psychological imprint manifesting in real time. If you habitually choose compassion, your mind becomes predisposed to compassion. This principle also means the result is impersonal. The law operates universally without judgment. Whether you are a saint or a skeptic, the seed you plant will inevitably germinate. This is why karma is often misunderstood as delayed punishment. It is merely the universe reflecting the energy you generated. The quality of the mental seed you plant determines the quality of the fruits you reap. Understanding karma transforms it from a concept of cosmic punishment into the greatest tool for personal empowerment and mindful living. This is the hardest concept for the Western mind. If everything is impermanent, anicca, and there is no eternal, unchanging soul, Anatta, then what is it that gets reborn? The Buddha stated that the concept of a singular, permanent self is a delusion. What persists is the Dharma continuum, the flow of consciousness. The Buddha illustrated this using the flame metaphor. Imagine lighting one candle from the flame of another. The second flame is causally linked to the first. It's dependent on the first flame's energy. But the substance of the original flame did not physically travel. Rebirth is the transference of mental momentum, karmic energy, and latent psychological tendencies. It is the activation of this energy in a new host body, conditioned by the final impulse of the mind at death. The confusion arises because the mind habitually creates a narrative of I. But that I is merely a collection of constantly changing physical and mental aggregates. To be absolutely clear, nothing jumps. There is no spiritual entity flying from body A to body B. Instead, imagine a psychological resonance that carries the imprint. This is why the doctrine of Anatta is so liberating. By understanding that there is no eternal entity to save, we stop clinging to the process of becoming, Samsara, and focus purely on extinguishing the fuel, the craving and attachment that powers the flame of the next existence. This subtle understanding of process and continuity, rather than an eternal entity, elevates Buddhist philosophy far beyond simple religious belief. The 6 realms of rebirth are often misinterpreted as distant, mythological destinations. The profound Buddhist view is that the realms are the 6 fundamental, habitual states of mind we cycle through daily. We can divide them into 3 lower and 3 higher states. The hell realm is not a pit of fire. It is the mental state of extreme rage, paranoia, and hatred, the state of self-destruction. The hungry ghost realm is the state of chronic, insatiable craving, addiction, and emptiness. The animal realm is dominated by instinct and lack of awareness. The remaining realms are driven by pride or pleasure. The Asura realm, Titan demigod, is the state of chronic comparison, jealousy, and conflict, the feeling of being powerful but always in competition. The heaven realms, Deva, are states of deep bliss, pleasure, and peace, but they are ultimately a spiritual dead end, as people become complacent and heedless, feeling no urgency to seek liberation. The human realm, Manusa Loka, is the optimal state. It is the only realm with enough suffering to prompt awakening, but enough freedom to act wisely. This comprehensive psychological map underscores a vital truth. The human realm is the most valuable. Because the human realm contains both pain and joy, it is the only state where we possess the perfect balance of clarity and urgency needed to practice the Dharma effectively. Every single action you take today, whether driven by anger, craving, or compassion, is a vote for the psychological realm that will dominate your mind and determine your future continuum. The realms are always a reflection of your internal landscape. This brings us to the core of ethical practice: radical responsibility and free will. You are not merely a victim of past karma. You are the architect of your next moment. When the Buddha says karma is driven by intention, he is handing you back the keys to your life. The past provides the context, your current situation and tendencies. But your reaction to that context, your current intention, creates the new karma. The majority of people operate on autopilot, driven by subconscious emotional triggers. This is reactive karma. The true purpose of meditation, as decoded in Part 7, is to give you the critical second of non-reaction, the pause needed to choose wisdom over impulse. This pause is the moment of genuine philosophical freedom. The disciplined pause you gain through meditation allows you to shift from reaction to conscious response. By training the mind to observe without reacting, you interrupt the negative karmic loop. This shift from blind reactivity to mindful choice is the ultimate ethical application of the doctrine of karma. It transforms you from a victim of circumstance into an active participant in your destiny. Furthermore, this principle applies to every scale of life. By choosing compassion in a small interaction, you strengthen the neural pathways of kindness. This makes it easier to choose compassion in the future, creating a self-sustaining positive loop. This philosophical framework empowers us with the responsibility to choose compassionate and ethical action, understanding that every conscious choice shapes your eternal continuum. You are not bound by your past. We have decoded that karma is the psychological law of intention, and rebirth is the continuation of energy. This profound understanding is the key to unlocking true freedom, because it means you are no longer a victim of unconscious impulses. You are operating from a place of conscious wisdom. The ultimate goal is not a better rebirth, but the cessation of the entire cycle. Nirvana is not a mystical heaven. but the radical, permanent extinguishing of the inner flame of greed and delusion that forces the continuous cycle of becoming. This is the absolute freedom achieved when all craving, greed, hatred, and delusion, the engines of karma, are entirely extinguished. If you found this decoding challenging, know that you are now grappling with the deepest truths of the Dharma. You have successfully navigated the paradox of Anatta and the mechanism of the samsaric wheel. This philosophical achievement is profound, but the deepest lesson on impermanence comes with the final departure of the Master himself. The parinirvana is the ultimate proof that everything conditioned must cease. When the Buddha passed away, he left behind only his teachings. It is a moment of profound sadness, but one that is absolutely necessary to validate every single word he ever spoke. What were the last, most vital words of the man who decoded the universe? Don't miss Part 9, the final teaching, the Buddha's parinirvana and last words, the contemplative and emotional end to our series, where we examine his final moments and the lasting legacy he left for the world. Subscribe now to continue your spiritual journey.